Good morning, beautiful people. Today we are talking about how to speed run through life, how in this year, 2025, you can get 10 years worth of things done in 1 year.
So, as we dive in, you're going to learn some of the strategies that we use now to have quantum leaps, to grow our knowledge base, our revenue, our income, our marketing, our businesses, and our lives a whole lot in a short amount of time. Because what we focus on, we get more of. So, grab your grab your notepad and your paper and get ready to take some notes as we dive in.
Imagine if every day you just got one thing done that moved the needle forward. And over the next 365 days, you did one small needle moving action. How much further would you be in your business? How much further would you be in your life? How much further would you be in your fitness versus looking past the last year? How many days could you look back and see that nothing got done? This is what we're talking about, guys. A lot of it's very simple, but we're going to show you the mentality behind it. We're going to drill some motivation into each and every single one of you guys to get those things done and give you the strategy and the play-by-play that we use to get so much done in a short amount of time.
Something I've noticed is planning properly and executing quickly moves mountains.
Yep.
Everything moves quickly when we plan effectively. Some people get stuck in the planning phase and never go from planning to execution. Other people get stuck in the execution phase and just go do stuff, but with no true end in mind, and then they're spinning their wheels, putting lots of effort into things that aren't moving them toward their goal. So, we're going to talk about number one, the hidden tax of slow progress. What's the hidden tax of slow progress?
So most people waste so many years spinning their wheels, not knowing exactly where they're going, right? If you don't have a vision for yourself, you're going to live by the vision that the world, the media has for you, and it's not going to end up in a great place, right? You see many people who kind of go throughout life and allow life to take them wherever it wants to, and it usually leads them down a bad path. It usually leads them down having a lot of debt, being depressed. All these different things start to happen if you don't have a vision and a direction for your life. And if you do have a vision for your life and a place that you want to go, you have to start asking yourself, if you are the same person that you are right now, will that lead you to the vision that you want in your life? Or do things have to change? Do you have to become a better version of yourself? Maybe an absolutely whole different version of yourself in order to hit that vision? That is the question that I want you guys to ask yourself and understand the cost of not doing that. The cost of living slowly, the cost of taking small amounts of action and never actually getting to the place that you want to go to.
So I think that is a big shift that all of us can make is we can decide what actions are we going to take. What is something we're going to work on today, right now, and then do that thing. How we do anything is how we do everything. And if we can step into being the type of person who, rather than waiting months or years thinking, I should really do that thing, we just do it. We just move the needle forward. We just take action now. I'd say every one of you, if you think about it, you can think of those people who you just trust. You just intuitively know they know how to win. We know a lot of people like that. You know, you can text them something, and if they say that they can do it, you know that it's going to get done.
Right.
You can talk to them about something, and you just know that it's going to happen. Why? Because they have built a trust in themselves and a trust with us now, because we've seen them execute time after time. And then you probably all know that other type of person. You text them and ask them something, and perhaps if they tell you they're going to do it at noon, maybe by 7 p.m. it will be done, if you're lucky. Perhaps you can have a conversation and they'll say, I'll call you right back, and you may never hear from them. And so being able to know that, thinking of those different types of people that you have around you, you're going, okay, what makes the difference? Why do I know these are action takers and winners? Why do I know I have a lack of trust that these people are going to say and do what they say that they're going to do? And once you can start to become more and more of that person that says, I'm not just going to do something slowly over time, But I'm going to be the type, if I say I'm going to do it, why wait? Why put off till tomorrow what can be done today?
So everyone who operates slower than what they want to towards the goals that they want, they have hesitation, they have doubt, and they have distractions in their lives. But there's a big hidden cost to those distractions, right? Because if you know, for example, that if you in a year can hit the income goal that you want, then you can get a new place for you and your family.
Yeah.
Or your family doesn't have to worry about money anymore. Or I looked at my situation where my parents were so stressed about money all the time, and I thought about this where, okay, if I didn't support them, if I didn't help them, if I didn't find a way to give them guidance, then let's just say they were in a very, very stressful position financially and they stopped caring about their health. And all of a sudden, because of the lack of care for finances, lack of care for health, they were in a much worse position. And that's actually what had happened to my dad in that time, was his health declined so much because of stress, because I couldn't help him in time. That was the cost. And of course, he's his own man. I don't have to take care of him. But you think about those things for yourself too. Yeah. If you don't get yourself into a position financially where you are, of course, number one, above survival mode, but also where you can be in a great environment, you can take care of your health, you can eat the right foods. If you don't do that, you allow yourself to fall into a place where your health declines. And if your health declines to a point where you have diseases or you have other parts that will cost you a lot more money in the long term, that is the cost of hesitation. That is the cost of doubt. And these, of course, are health challenges, but there's so much other ones that we don't think about. So then it begs the question, how then do we move fast? How then do we move forward? How then do we speed up our learning curve so we can execute at a higher level?
So something that is a cheat code, if you will, that has really helped me move quickly is to constantly put myself around action takers and people of great wealth and great connection. And this has been a game changer for me, because being in the right rooms with the right people, what may take you 4 years of praying for the right connection and calling banks and asking for the loan, or calling connects and asking for a deal with the right person in the right room who knows the owner of that bank or who knows the owner of that company, one phone call changes everything. 4 minutes with this person could be 4 years that you may have worked on something. So when I realized I could put myself in the right rooms around the right people and understand that that can shorten the curve tremendously, then that for me became a cheat code that I pay a ton of money to be in the right rooms every single year to continue to expand my network. Now, what's some other ways, Leo, that you speed up that learning curve?
Just look at anyone who's done what you want to do and understand that you have the capability to go ask them the question, how did you do it? A lot of people just don't realize that because they have the belief that those people don't want to help them, or that they're too shy, right? They are too shy to go up and talk to the person. And that's the biggest problem. If you know that it is you holding you back from finding people who have the wisdom that can help you shortcut 4 or 5 years, then you are shortcutting yourself 4 or 5 years.
Wow.
Why would you ever do that?
Good
You guys know how much you want to help other people, right? When a kid comes up to you, or when someone younger than you comes up to you or less experienced, you always want to help them. That's how most of the world thinks. I didn't know that before. I used to think everyone was selfish and they would hold those things to themselves.
Yeah.
And then, of course, when we met, you were someone that gave everything out.
Yeah.
Hey, this is exactly how I did it. Here's the mistakes. I was able to shortcut how many years? Like 8 years?
Yeah.
Maybe a little less, 6 years of real estate growth because I had Andrew. And Andrew was able to skip 6 years of personal branding growth because I had done it for 6 years.
Right.
And we transferred that. That's also why me and Andrew grow so fast, is because I learn my stuff, Andrew learns his stuff, and we help each other with those things.
Yeah.
So with you guys, always think about who knows what you want to have, who is in the place where maybe you want to make $1 million, maybe you want to build $1 million company, or maybe you want to build a community, whatever it is. Look for the people who have already done it and watch their podcasts, or listen to their audiobooks, read their books. Find anything about them, because they're teaching this stuff on a daily basis. And that's the world we live in nowadays. But a lot of people just don't take the action on the advice that they give.
That's another one that is so important. There's even a Bible verse that talks about that. It says, don't just be hearers, but be doers. And I think that's a game changer. I've been to some of the same events that I'd gone to that got me started in entrepreneurship and business years ago. I've seen other people go to the same events, hear the same information, but leave saying that was just good info. One day I'll do something with it. And so making sure we move from just hearing this, you can show up on the show and hear what we're saying, but you guys are winners. You're action takers. And you said, I'm going to leave here, and because of what I heard, it now changes the trajectory. You can rush through a book and read it real fast and then forget what you read. Or you can read a book and say, this is some good info. I think I'll apply it.
That's right. Everyone type in the chat, act as if. Act as if. This is a principle that I've used over the past couple of years that has given me at 22 the ability to build a multi-million-dollar company with Andrew, and of course to attract the people that we want, and essentially any mentors that we want to talk to, we can talk to. And it's a very, very important principle, and it's not necessarily fake it till you make it, right? This principle of act as if is essentially ask yourself, the future self that you've created, the best version of yourself, what if you acted as if you are that person now? What kind of new attitudes would you have? What kind of new energy would you have? How would you pick yourself up? Because it's an interesting principle to say, I know that the future self walks with more conviction, speaks with more conviction, speaks a little bit slower maybe, speaks a little bit louder, just on the speaking route, right? If I know that I'm eventually going to be there, why would I wait 2 years to start working on my volume of my voice?
Yeah.
If I just acted as if, all of a sudden I'm speaking a little bit louder. What if I just stayed here? If the person that I'm going to be soon is going to speak like this anyways, why won't I just start now? Then you can skip those 2 years. Same thing with attitude, with how you treat other people. Same thing with maybe I'm a more God-centered man in 2 years. Why can't I just do that now? Why do I have to wait for certain circumstances to happen for me to realize that, oh, I could just do that?
Yeah.
Because one day in this next 2 years, you're going to realize that all you have to do is increase your volume, or all you have to do is read the Bible more, or all you have to do is text that one person that's been around in your life, or all you have to do is start to work out more. Yeah. You're just going to have a moment where you realize. Why don't you just realize right now and start doing it right now? Otherwise, you waste so much time.
Yeah.
That's how you speed up your trajectory of your life, is that you just imagine that future version of yourself and you do all the things that they would do right now.
That's such a powerful moment, Leo. I remember we was talking not too long after we met, and you'd asked me a question, and it may have been about personal branding or losing weight. I don't remember what it was. And you're like, what would the person, I was describing what I wanted to become, and you said, what would that person do? And let's just say it was losing weight. And I'm like, well, that person would probably at least go for a walk every morning and probably hit the gym a lot of mornings. Okay. So if you think that person would do that, then is that something you would be willing to do right now? Well, I'm busy right now. Okay, so that person won't be busy? Well, no, he'll probably be more busy. Great, so are we going to make excuses or are we going to make it happen? And you walked me through that in such a simple way, and it just clicked. So wait a second. If I can understand you're having success on social media, and you're telling me that you post once a day, well, gosh, I should post once a day. If I'm telling you I'm buying X houses a month, and you ask me how many calls are you making a day, and I say I'm talking to 10 sellers a day, well, gosh, don't you think you can have 5 conversations, 10 conversations a day? So immediately implementing what you know that future self will do, or what you see someone else successful doing, is an incredible way to launch pad, to jet fuel yourself to new levels quickly.
So the deeper psychological aspect of that is the identity change. Because if you're an unhealthy person and 2 years from now you're a healthy person, that person has the identity of being a healthy person. You ask yourself, what would a healthy person do? They would choose the healthier option every time. Yeah. Right now, because you identify as an unhealthy person, you're going to choose the unhealthy option. But it also goes down to how you speak to yourself. It actually all goes down to how you speak to yourself.
Wow, that's
because
so true.
If you right now, start identifying yourself as a healthy person, you're going to force yourself to make that decision. Every decision you make is a habit of thinking, right? I am a healthy person, so I choose the healthier option.
Yeah.
In the beginning, it's hard because you have to choose the healthier option that tastes a little bit less good, and your body's not used to it.
Yeah.
But then in the moment, that's the discipline. That's the only discipline you have to do is tell yourself every single day, I am becoming a healthier person. I am a healthy person. I'm sexy. I look great. I always choose the healthier options. And you say those things consistently, and it trains your mind very, very fast to do that. And let's just say 3 weeks, you train yourself every day to do that. You could skip those 2 years, because by the end of the 3 weeks, you have built the habit to then choose the healthier option.
So good.
Versus in 2 years, you chose maybe 13 or 24 healthy options. So you had 24 times to build that habit in, right? But over 2 years. Or you could speed up the process by doing it every day for 24 days to then speed up. So I really want you guys to understand that as much as you can, because you can start utilizing that today in anything that you want to do.
It's a time warp. It's like a secret hack. You know, when we know the action to take to move the needle, then it's just doing the thing. And as oversimplified as that sounds, it moves the needle so quickly. And that's how I, after losing the weight, have been able to maintain a healthy lifestyle, Leo, as you had me to think in the way of, all right, we have 365 days in the year. Imagine out of those 365 days, at least 310 of them, you was at the gym. At least 310 of them, you made the healthy choices. Now, if you're traveling and you're on a plane and you ate a snack that was less healthy one day, or you was traveling for a long flight and you missed the workout one day, it's not the end of the world. It's not, I screwed up my whole flow. It's saying, at 365 days, every day I'm getting better. That's a powerful change. So, another point we want to share with you is the power of moving and making decisions quickly. Now, as we hear information, we can either choose to hear this information and think about it, or we can choose to make decisions quickly. And I think this is going to be very important as you're taking notes, you're gathering information, you're building your business, you're making connections, you're finding private money, you're doing deals, you're gaining new customers or clients. As you're doing all the things that you do in your life and your business, is to lay out your options and make decisions quickly. How do you implement that in your life and business, Leo?
Ask yourself a series of questions. You can just choose one. We have up here, will this matter in 5 years? That's a question that I ask myself very, very regularly. I ask myself the question, would the best version of myself do this? Why do these questions exist? It exists because it allows you to do things outside of your current programming. Your current programming right now is however you speak to yourself and the culmination of all the words, okay, and all the decisions you've made. However, I'll ask you right now, the current version of yourself, will that person be able to achieve the dreams that you set out for yourself? If no, then you have to ask yourself those questions. What would the greatest version of myself do? What will doing this move me closer to my vision? Will this matter in 5 years? And I'll explain that in a sense of, if you ask yourself, will this matter in 5 years? Will working out matter in 5 years? Absolutely. Because you're going to be in a much healthier position in 5 years than if you didn't. If you didn't work out for the next 5 years, you probably will not be happy with yourself in a year from now, or even 5 years from now. Same thing with if you get a hateful comment on Instagram as you're making posts. That's what stops a lot of people, is other people bashing them online, or even thinking that person is saying something about them. Will it matter in 5 years if that person is bashing you online? Will that person ever pay your bills? Will that person ever be of service to you in your life? Probably not. Why are we holding ourselves back because of a negative comment, right? So when we run everything through filters, right? We call them filters. The sooner you can build these, lack of a better word, filters up, the faster you can make decisions. Do you have anything to add on that?
No, I think that's really good. That's just driving home the point that all of us have a filter that we run decisions through. And that could be that our filter has been what I call the old broke programming, whether that be broke in finances or broke in health or broke in mentality. But the old broke programming, the old broke filters will try to come back up, because it's always caused us to be able to survive. It's got us to where we are. But what got us to where we are won't get us to where we're going. And so sometimes the most uncomfortable thing is changing the filter is shifting and saying the old me pre-screened my friends this way. The old me pre-screened my decisions this way. The old me would have looked for this type of deal or used my time this way. The new me, the new filter, the 2 years from now version of yourself is operating through different lens, a different filter, and stepping into your next level of power.
I'll go on a road trip sometimes, depending on who I'm with. We'll always use a GPS. I always need a GPS, to be honest, to get places anywhere other than the gym and the coffee shop. But we'll have a direction to go somewhere. Let's just say it's back home in San Francisco, and eventually someone will say, probably myself, say I'm pretty hungry.
Yeah.
All right, what do you want to eat? Sushi. But then typically on the road trip to San Francisco, there's no sushi there. It's way out of the way. So we have to ask ourselves: does it get us closer there? Do we have to go? Do we have to take the long road to the path? But it's for some sushi. So we always ask ourselves: is it on the way? Is it on the way to the vision? So that's one thing that I think about. And the other one is, as we're taking a road trip anywhere or even driving anywhere, sometimes my Google Maps or my Apple Maps will tell me to take a shorter route.
Yeah.
Right? And it'll say, hey, do you want to take this route? And it always leads us to that same path, but it leads us there faster. But those become filters for how we make decisions. Do certain things in our lives get us to that path faster? Let's take that path. And then there's going to be lots of distractions, right? For example, there's going to be a person on the side of the road. Maybe we stop there, right? And that takes 20 minutes off, but maybe you help them out.
Yeah.
Everything's a decision that you make. But think about your decisions like driving to your destination. Could you just simply drive, take the road that Google Maps wants you to take, and simply go straight there? Or are you going to go stop at every time you see someone stopped on the side of the road? Are you going to stop for them?
Yeah.
Right. Every single roadkill that you are going to stop for them. Mm-hmm. Every single donut shop, you're going to stop for it. That's what most people are doing.
Wow.
Is that they're stopping on everything that they see on the side of the road. Yeah. They stop for McDonald's. They stop for Starbucks. They stop for
In-N-Out.
And it takes them 30 hours to get to their destination versus the 2 hours it should have took.
Wow. Guys, this is such a writer downer episode. I trust this is settling in and making so much sense, because as we move toward our visions, each one of you move into the next stage of your purpose and who you were meant to be, how you were meant to help people. It can be so uncomfortable sometimes because we have a reason for everything we do. And once we've built that habit for sometimes decades, changing that habit is not easy. But sometimes moving faster is more important. Only stop for the things that are important. Great analogy, brother.
Thank you. So number 5, the last piece that we're going to cover, guys, is what can you do today to compress a decade into a year? And let's think about that for a moment, right? Because the old me, probably in 10 years, if I just stayed the same person I was 5 years ago, right? I probably would have stayed making about $60K a year, allowed myself to grow a little bit every single time. I probably wouldn't work out so much. I'd probably still be pretty lazy, allow bad habits to pop in. But in 10 years, I probably would have, that 5% compounds.
Yeah.
So maybe by the end of 10 years, I'm making $200,000, right? For example, that's still pretty good. Versus now we understand compounding growth, right? Type in the chat, compounding growth. Now, what this means, guys, in my understanding of it is me and Andrew are learning so much this year. We're putting so much work into different things and building our network so much, right? 2025. Let's just use 2024 as an example. 2024, we grew so much, we learned, we made a lot of mistakes. We failed a lot. And those failures gave us new insights, right? Now we've created new connections. We've created a bigger team. Guess what? 2025 has compounding effects, because now 2025, we have all the failures from 2024 and 2023 and the new muscles from 2024, 2023, the new networks that we've built from those. So now it's so much easier to take bigger action because we already have all the efforts that we made in 2024. So now 2025, we're probably going to move 2, 3, 4 times as fast,
right?
In terms of revenue, in terms of wisdom, in terms of network growth. Because network growth, 2024, let's just say we met 50 people. And each of those 50 people we understand can introduce us to 2 people.
Yeah.
I don't know the math on that, but it's, whatever that math is, a lot of more people. But then now 2025, each of those people introduces 2 more people. It compounds over and over and over again. So now, guess what? In 2026, by the time of the growth and understanding this mindset, we have grown 10 years in 1 year.
Right.
Because of the efforts that we made last year and the year before that. So if this is your first time hearing this, guys, this year, utilize everything you can to make sure next year is the 10-year growth.
Yeah.
But you can also make sure this year is the 10-year growth by making a huge decision in your life to change the identity of who you are. Because if you identify yourself as still a broke person or still someone who can't execute, you're always going to stay there until you change that identity, and all of a sudden you're someone, hey, I am an executor. I do get things done. And guess what? Every decision you make is going to be the one that identifies with that identity. I get shit done every single time. I choose the healthy option. That's the one big decision that you can make this year to make sure every year is a 10-decade growth year.
That's a game changer. And for all of you hearing this, it's such a powerful thing when we can realize, and I'll ask you this, and it's a rhetorical question, but who here realizes there's some things, there's knowledge available that we don't yet know, right? There's knowledge available. You get to learn every day, and you still don't know it all. It continues to grow. And the older we get, the more we realize there's so much more to learn, right? So every time that happens, we're going, okay, there's more knowledge available. Got it. That's good. That's good news. And Leo and I was just talking about this the other day, and Leo had made the very similar comment. Every year I realize there's way more to learn. And I think we all have that realization. And as we start to look at that, we realize while it may be impossible to know everything, it is possible to continue to gain knowledge in a way that serves us, right? What the news does, what social media does, what the world around us can tend to do is to give us knowledge that's useless. Who here, besides me, has ever went down a rabbit hole of scrolling on a news article to another news article to another news article, and before long, or a video to another video, and 2 hours later you found yourself down this rabbit hole with a whole lot more knowledge of how something happens, but it was knowledge that was rather meaningless for where we are in life. And so we could put our focus and our brain power into that, but the same brain power it takes during that same time to read a book, or to hop on the Truca Daily Show, or to call a friend who has been successful and say, how did you do that? And because we are being very intentional with our gathering of knowledge, now we can put that knowledge to action immediately. And just today, I had a thing on my calendar for the last 3 weeks. I've been so busy, I just hadn't been looking at it. And today, I wrote down and I said, why am I avoiding this? Why am I avoiding this item? It's a tiny item. It's an item that just needs to be done. It's an item that takes me 7 minutes to make the decision. But it was just sitting there, occupying brain space. And today, boom, made the decision, knocked it out. Why? Because things can tend to stack up on us. So ask yourself today, as Leo said, what can I do today? What's a decision I can do today? What's a book I can read today? What's an action I can take? What's a person I can call, a connect I can make that will compress years of learning and start moving the ball forward, moving the needle forward for this compressed learning?
Absolutely. This is a really fun episode. It's definitely one that you and I both needed in the start of our journey. One final question I want you guys to ponder on is, if this was the last year of your life and you had to make sure your 10-year goals were accomplished, what would you do? Or even further, if today was the last day you had on earth, what would you do? How would you treat other people? How would you talk to other people? How would you respond to people? And all of a sudden, we start to realize this come into true life of, hey, I could switch that identity right now. Because if today was the last day I ever had on earth, I would make sure to show everyone all the love I possibly can. I would say all the things. I would do all the things. I would make the phone call. And I would have those big motion movement things, because that's what would get me there. Yeah. If I had to leave my legacy down in 1 day or 1 year. So what if you just did that now? Why would you not do that? Why would you hold that love back from other people? Why would you hold those things back? You just wouldn't.
Wow.
So when I asked myself that question, all of a sudden my identity shifted and I got a fire under my ass and I started to really move in that direction of being that man as if today was my last day. And now every single day I try my best to live as if it's my last day.
It's powerful. Guys, trust you took lots of notes. You're probably going to want to go back and listen again and make sure you get your action item together so you can move the needle forward in your life. You can be so much more than you think you can. You can accomplish it in way less time than you think you can. Go do some amazing things. You're loved.
Peace. Have a great day. See you
y'all.
tomorrow. Same time, same place. Bye-bye.